Welcome, relatable people, to the stream for November. So, how are you guys? I hope everybody's doing fine. A big hello to the chat. We have Fantasia, Jack, Junito, Lisbeth, Sasha, Yo, Darius, Logan, of course, Amateur Season, who says, hello, distinguished panel of judges. Jessica, Melania, Dan Ludovici, hello, everyone. So, thanks, everybody, for voting the subject for the stream. We're going to be reviewing Trixie Mattel's Moving Parts. If you haven't watched this movie, it's available on Netflix. Of course, we do this kind of every month. I put up there in the community section of the channel a little bit of topics that you can decide what you would like me to talk about during the live streams. And we can chit-chat a little bit and share opinions on what we think about the different topics. So, for this week, we'll be reviewing Trixie Mattel's Moving Parts. Now, how are we going to do this review? First, I want to give you a general idea. There are a little bit of things that I want to talk about really, really quick. And then we go through the movie and we see how all of these things that I mentioned before will start to play out during the movie. Because there are some things where I really want to focus your attention. This is going to be a review, but this is also going to be an analysis of the movie. So some things went really well, some things went really wrong. So let's not wait too much. Let's go immediately through it. Did I like this movie? Kind of. I kind of like this movie. There are points that are really, really high, and there are points that are really, really low. So on average, it was okay as a drag movie. So from a scale from AJ and the Queen and Dragula Resurrection is definitely closer to a Dragula Resurrection. But as a documentary, next to, all the documentaries that you could see up there, it's kind of, a lot better could have been done. Especially because Trixie is one of the most famous drag queen in the world. So we're not just, it's not a movie about Hugh Amasaki. I mean, I love Hugh Amasaki, but I cannot imagine spending millions of dollars for making a movie about her. So there are very highs and there are very lows. On the very high, I like the fact that they went for a documentary. They didn't try to kind of make a movie around her that would have been, a scripted movie. This documentary tries to be honest, it tries to be sincere, it has the heart on the right place, especially because it pushes the idea that despite this glamorous appearance of drag and this celebration of the art form, there's always a person behind it. And as you know, this is kind of a topic that I really like to talk about on this channel. We talk about it a lot. That there's always a person behind the performer, especially in this age where we are all connected, we're all on Twitter, we're all on Instagram, everybody's sharing opinions, and people kind of feel this connection to these people without realizing that they really feel a connection to the character. And the person behind the character often gets kind of forgotten, with its feeling and its troubles and so on. So in this sense, the movie really have the heart on its right place, and it tries to stay true to the character. So Trixie is in your face, she is quick, she is witty, and the movie doesn't shy away from it. This is something that I really like. It tries to really be an uncompromising depiction of the reality of the life of Brian. Now, the point it's on the very low is that despite it tries to be realistic, it never really tries to explore the difficult themes that are part of the movie. Themes like addiction, domestic violence, neglect in the family, or financial struggle. Trixie comes from a very, how can I say, a very low income family. So it's not like, she had it easy growing up. and also touches on themes of depersonalization of entertainers, what I was talking about 5 minutes ago. But the problem is that they're really always mentioned. They are never really explored, they are never really developed. And in a 90 minutes movie, there is plenty of time to at least develop these themes a little bit. The problem is that instead of being developed, most of the time they are used to evoke emotions in the viewer. And this is a very, very cheap trick to use. That's why at some point I felt that the movie was kind of manipulative, and it was done in a very in-your-face way. And you might ask yourself why? Why was it done in this way? Well, don't forget this movie is produced by World of Wonder, who pulls out every trick in the book that we got used to see during the seasons of Drag Race, especially during the seasons of Drag Race since the show started airing on VH1. So there is this. Another problem that I found with the movie was the pacing. The pacing was done really, really badly. At some point I had the feeling that they had like a 60 minutes movie, and then for some reason they thought, oh shit, the movie needs to be 90 minutes, so we need to put things inside. So while you watch the movie, you are dragged along with themes put out there, and then immediately you have other parts of the movie that basically mean they are there. That's the problem. They are there without really moving the plot along. And this is an unforgivable sin whenever you're doing entertaining media, but especially if you're doing it in movie. Everything needs to be essential. Everything needs to move the plot along until you are carried to the end of the movie and you have the feeling that you went through a journey. So if you know Trixie and you are invested in the character, you're probably going to like this movie. But if you're not completely crazy about her, you will not be blinded by all these different aspects on the movie. Another problem that I found with the movie was the fact that it lacks a score. It has a soundtrack, which is Trixie's movie, but it doesn't really have a score. And since the movie tries really hard at times to really resonate emotionally with the viewers, I think it would have been achieved better by using a score, by scoring it, not necessarily by hiring, a composer to score the movie. There is a ton of good score out there, which is also freely available, so you don't have to pay for it. But I think that would have been a much better choice rather than trying to use some sensitive topics in order to evoke a specific emotion in you. And I mean, a lot better could have been done for this movie. Don't forget, sometimes I got the feeling that this movie was kind of rushed because it was filmed in a time in which Trixie was probably under the exclusivity contract from World of Wonder, because she just filmed All Stars 3. This movie sets immediately after the filming of All Stars 3 and during the airing of All Stars 3. So there is a very, very high chance she was under the exclusivity contract. What does it mean? It means that probably she didn't really have a choice. She probably had to do the movie no matter what. And 99% she probably had absolutely zero saying in the movie, apart from the things that she actually said while she was being filmed. But being part of the producing or being part of the storyline, the presentation, and so on, that absolutely not. That's all on World of Wonder and the people they decided to hire to kind of make this movie. So I think this movie was kind of disingenuous, and it generally made a disservice to Trixie Mattel, to Brian, the person behind the character, but most of all to the fans. It could have been so much better, and it really stick to the lowest possible denominator. And that was really a lost opportunity, especially because drag media like this, it's kind of a new thing. We are starting to have TV shows, we're starting to have scripted TV shows, but we never really got a proper documentary following the life of someone. So this was a great opportunity not only to explore the life of Brian, but also to set a precedent on which future media can build upon. And it really failed in that. So let's go through the movie and let's talk about all these things in a little bit more detail. So, we already have comments in the chat. Somebody's mentioned of the regular resurrection. We are going to talk about that. Maybe we can talk about that a little bit later. It was amazing. That's what I talk about when I say this movie could have been so much better. They probably should have made the Boulet brothers do it. They would have done an amazing job. So the movie begins, and immediately we don't see Trixie. This is something that was really a smart choice. We don't see Trixie in the beginning of the movie because the movie is not really about Trixie. It's about Brian. So we see Brian. That's our really first impression. We see him unboxing, which is really important because doing drug is hard. This is something that people usually forget. It's not about the things that you move around. It's the things that at some point you have to put on yourself. And after this, we have a little bit of a cliche picture on the fridge thing. This is something that it's really, really common. It has been done 1,000 times. Is it always effective? Well, that depends on you. That depends on how much time you've seen something like this. But, it's kind of an obligatory thing. And, I can give it a pass to that. Then we see a little bit of Trixie performing. And we also see a little bit of Trixie's history with Drag Race. There is this moment in the movie in which you see Trixie watching herself during her run of season 7. If you watch closely at this point of the movie, you will see that at some point on that tablet, Candy Ho will appear. And as usual, because she's Candy Ho, the moment she appears, you see the tablet slowly going in the background. You don't see it anymore. So they kind of managed to edit out Candy Ho even from this movie. She's not even mentioned. She doesn't exist. If anybody asks, that queen doesn't exist. Who knows why? I don't know. I don't know. It's just the way it is. So we have this introduction to Trixie in the beginning of the movie. And after that, we jump immediately into her friendship with Katya. We have this segment in which we see them both together. They are working, they have a show together, they are friends, they are exchanging presents. And this is a section where I start to have a little bit of a problem. And I'll explain it why in a moment. After this introduction to their friendship, we immediately jump to filming, where Katya kind of has what it looks as a psychotic breakdown during the filming. Now, nothing is said about it. There is no explanation. There is no real, how can I say, exploration of what's really happening and why. We just see a person basically leaving work because she needs to go to rehab. And immediately after that, we have a small segment with Trixie saying why she's doing this. This is going to something like, this is going to ruin our career. This is our whole career. And she's basically complaining about the situation. And this is a very I don't know, a very strange choice on the part of the director, because you show them in the beginning putting the accent on how much friends they are. But the moment one of the two is in any difficulty, the first thing the other person thinks about is, how is this going to affect her job? And, you know, it's really two contradictory ideas, because you're either friends or you're either working partners. So you want to follow some kind of structure. Now, why did this happen? I think this was a huge mistake on the part of the director, because two things could have been happening here. Either you want to show that they are friends and that they are going through troubles, because one of the two is going through troubles. And in that case, this scene right here that you see a screenshot of, this shouldn't have been appeared at all. It should have been left on the cutting room floor. Or you set up a storyline for the movie. So you start talking about two people who begin as co-workers, then one of the two has to leave. The other one is, of course, worried about their working relationship and their career and their TV show. And then by the end of the movie, this working relationship evolves into a real friendship. So the protagonist of your movie, which is Trixie, realizes that working was really something in the background. Friendship was the thing that really held it all together. And this doesn't happen in the movie. You have this ambivalent message that, yes, they're a friend, but yes, Trixie doesn't really care about that. And this is really a problem, because Trixie is the hero of your movie and you're making her look like an asshole. That's the problem. That's the whole problem. Of course, Trixie Mattel, her shtick is kind of being an asshole. But this is a feature documentary. This is not the first impression that you want to have when she's relating on an emotional level to someone who is presented as basically her first friend on screen. This is something that I found really puzzling. Why did it happen? I don't know. Maybe the movie was really rushed. Maybe the director was not really prepared for a feature movie. I don't know why they chose something like this. I think it was really stupid. It was a really stupid choice. Instead of thinking for a minute and making this whole scene make sense, they end up with both Trixie and Katya look basically like hassles. Katya because she leaves without any kind of real explanation, and Trixie because she seems to only care about the job. And it's really a lost opportunity. This scene goes on for about 10 minutes, and not once we get to explore a little bit the topic of drug addiction. And most of all, explain the meaning of drug-induced psychosis, because this is something real. This is something a person has absolutely zero control about it. And it's a huge problem, because not only affects the perception of the people, it also affects the way they relate to the outside world, including their relationships with other people. So why not spend 2 minutes of those 10 minutes for talking about this and kind of give an explanation? In this manner, Katya looks like she was a plot device, something that was there just to move the plot along, not really to enrich anything. And this is one of those lost opportunities that I've talked about in the beginning, because they could have stopped for a minute, they could have talked about it. And, you know, there are tons of fans of Trixie out there. And as we've seen in the movie, they all have every kind of different problems. And maybe this could have been a very good opportunity to turn a very shitty situation into something that could have touched the viewers in a way. Teach a little bit of something, and also clarifying a difficult situation, because a lot of people don't really understand that if you are going through a psychosis induced by addiction, you're not really you. That's not you. That's the face of your illness, not the person. So instead of all of this, what we get is a screenshot saying that Katya leaves the show. This is what we get. And this is going to set the tone for the whole movie. Whenever an opportunity arises to discuss a difficult topic, the movie ducks out and moves the plot along over and over and over again. So by the time we reach the next section, it's Christmas. And in this moment, for the first time, we have Trixie relating to Katya again. Relating to Katya's situation in a human way. because she said, this thing is probably going to ruin our friendship, which is completely legitimate. It's a completely legitimate thought, because I'm not even sure if Trixie had any idea what was really going on when she filmed this, or if she just played along for the movie. I don't know. But this moment is specifically dedicated to go back to their friendship. So if Katya had a nervous breakdown and then Trixie was worried about it, why did you show me a whole section with Trixie complaining about work before complaining about the mental situation of her friend? This was really such it's you I don't know. It was such an awkward choice in the way the events are presented. Because, this is much like Drag Race. They had tons of footage to show, to choose from. So, when they do things like this, it kind of make you think, did somebody actually direct the movie? Did they review the editing of the movie? Did they see this and think, oh yes, it's good, let's make it go like this? I don't know what to think about this. I mean, I'm still going with the theory that there was an exclusivity contract, so the movie had to go out as soon as possible. Otherwise, they probably had to pay Trixie millions for being in the movie. This is what I think about it, because otherwise I can't really find a good explanation from it. I mean, the editors on Drag Race are really good. So since this is produced by World of Wonder, I would expect that, maybe the same team or trained team would review this kind of edit and not make this kind of narrative errors. You do not make this kind of narrative errors, even though it's a documentary. You might think it's a documentary, it's supposed to be real, it's supposed to be as it happens. They filmed Trixie during the length of a year, and whatever happened. So it doesn't really have to have a structure to it. But what you are forgetting is that this is the impression that you have to have as a viewer. Somebody has to build this impression by scripting the movie behind the scenes. So you see, there is a little bit of a difference by watching the movie as a passive viewer and watching the movie as someone who is really watching it. You're really going through every moment of the movie, trying to analyze what's going on, the different choices that have been made and why they have been made. So there is a huge, I don't know, I could say dissonance. Can dissonance help transmit what I'm feeling? It's really dissonant in this matter. And they should have done a much better job in post-producing. They should have edited this movie much better, because you don't make errors like this, and most of all, you don't make the hero of your movie look like an asshole, unless that is part of a redemption storyline, that it's the central piece of your movie. These are the only cases in which you are allowed to make your hero look like an asshole. So, moving on. We skip this segment and we go to a little bit of servicing from Drag Race. Do you remember before when I told you it feels like this movie should have been 60 minutes, but they needed to hit the 90 minutes mark for selling the movie to Netflix? This is exactly what I'm talking about. We have a ton of Drag Race service during this movie that doesn't really move the plot along. It's there. It's like, I don't know, it's like I understand that it has to be there because that's how Trixie's mainstream career started, but it's just so much during the movie, and they don't really add anything. They don't really add anything at all. The only positive part of this section is that at some point we see the queens behind the scenes. We see them for like 3 minutes. 3 minutes, I'm not kidding, count it. We see them for like 3 minutes, And they are introducing some of the most important topics in the whole movie, because at some point you have Ben de la Creme talking about boundaries. She says something like, fans, people, they feel like they should have access to you at every moment, at all time. And this is very, very true, because this is the brand of Drag Race. These are real people. They are the commodity sold during the show. So the fans should have access to you at all time. They should reply you on Twitter. They follow you on Instagram. They feel like they are part of your life. And that is part of the job. This is important. This is part of the job. But the problem is that a performer can kind of get lost into this, because it feels like an obligation to overshare because his own persona is on sale out there. This is the job. And this can be really, really hard on the person, because they have to live continuously as a character, because their character is what it's been sold here. Of course, this is another missed opportunity, because you have queens who know this very well. You also have Kennedy talking about depression that comes from this whole situation, and it really lasts for 2 minutes. So my point is, why do you even open this topic if you don't really rise to the occasion and really give a heart to the movie by accepting these topics and build upon them? It's really, I don't know, it's really a missed opportunity. It's really a missed opportunity. But what can you do? I mean, this was the choice of the director for some reason. I don't even understand why you would mention this theme in particular. This is not even used to make Trixie look better by contrast. This is something that it's done a lot in this movie. So I don't really understand why this section was put there in the first place. I guess that probably the director thought, oh, we have to show a little bit of Drag Race, not only because it's part of the history of the character, but because, it's part of the brand, it's good publicity. But how do we justify it? Well, let's shot a little bit of the queens behind the scenes saying something that sounds important, and then let's move along. Let's go on. It's it's really, I cannot say, it's really cheap. It cheapens the movie. If you know Trixie Mattel and Brian, that's not a cheap person out there. Not in a human point of what, not in a human way. She might be cheap when she talks about, oh well, this thing costs $30. This is $240 a week. I mean, cheap in that way, yes, but that's not a cheap person. That's a smart person who worked their ass off to build one of the biggest drag careers in the industry. That's not cheap, but this makes her look like she's cheap because it's her movie. So if you're a fan, you're blinded to all of these things. Die-hard fans, I have to underline that. If you're a die-hard fan, you can be blinded by this thing, but as general viewers, they're going to look very, very transparent. So that's another problem that I had with it. But of course, we have to move the movie along. So when the next section comes, we are in Newcastle. If you do know anything about Newcastle, do you remember in a video where I showed you Pheromone? I think it was When Fans Go Too Far. You have Pheromone with a girl insulting her while she was trying to get fast food. This happened in Newcastle. This is where we are. And of course, I mean, how oblivious can you be? We have a section with the fans in Newcastle. So I don't know if the two things are connected. In my fantasy, I like to think that they are. They were kind of trying to give her a redemption for the fans in Newcastle and the people living there. So we have this moment in which we see some fans being interviewed and their interaction with Trixie. And this is when I saw this section, the first thing that I thought was, This is the intended audience for the movie. This movie was not made for me. This movie was probably not made for a lot of you guys. This is the target audience, teenagers. This movie is for them. And they didn't really put any effort in trying to make this movie accessible for all ages. You know, maybe at some point somewhere you have a confused parent say, well, my kid is queer, he or she is really into this entertainer called Trixie Mattel. Well, let me see what all the fuss is about, you know. And they watch the movie and they think, what the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? And while I was watching with this, I don't know about you guys, but I had this feeling that Trixie was kind of uncomfortable with fans. I don't know, because I get this feeling from her a lot. A lot. It's like having to deal directly with the fans kind of makes her uncomfortable. I have no idea why. My first impression about this is that a meet and greet is not really a place where you can sit 30 minutes with someone and discuss the kind of topics that most of these fans bring forward. You have fans saying, you saved my lives, fans saying, you changed my life, fans saying, I found myself because of you. And all of this has to go on in 2 minutes. So if I were her, I would probably feel the same way. It's like, what can I tell you in 2 minutes that can live up to the kind of effect that I had on you? You know, maybe I don't know. Am I too positive about it? You know, maybe you watch it and just think, well, she's an asshole. She doesn't give a shit. That's why. So after this, we got a moment in which we get to explore Trixie's humanity because she fucked up during the show. This is when I say the movie has the heart in its right place. It's because of things like this. She freezes on stage. And after this, she goes backstage and talks to the camera about it. This is something really common with entertainers. You don't see it very much when you watch videos on YouTube, but during live performance, a lot of performers will freeze on stage. The point is that most of them are smart enough to make the freezing look like part of the show. So a lot of people don't really realize that this incidents happen a lot. But they are smart enough to always move it along. And the fact that she's on screen and she's talking about it, it's really human. You know, it's really, really human. So I understand why they made this kind of choices. I just think that they were carried out really in a sloppy way, in a real sloppy way, because this is the kind of things that I want to see. This movie is about the person. The person's job is being a character, and this is the person having difficulties because she's having problem doing her job as a character. Is too convoluted. Am I don't know. Am I getting the point along? Because it's difficult to explain, especially in another language. It's kind of difficult to explain. Anyway, after this, we go to a viewing party. Which kind of viewing party? It's a drag race viewing party. This is another section that absolutely adds nothing to the movie. It adds 0 to the movie. But all it does for me is service to the Drag Race brand. Of course, this is really common across media. Every brand will try to reinforce its sister brands, especially if they are under the same roof. But by this point, I'm starting to think, why do we spend 10 minutes at a viewing party if it's not really adding anything to the movie? Why are we doing this? Well, we're probably doing it because it's World of Wonder, and this is what World of Wonder does. So after this section that adds absolutely nothing, we move back to Manchester. And this is a moment in which the movie starts to feel extremely, extremely disingenuous to me. Because we have Trixie talking and reading on screen messages sent from Katya. So by this point, we don't know this. You know this if you knew outside of the movie what happened behind the scenes. But if the only thing that you know is the movie, you don't know that Katya is in rehab. Katya is probably under pharmacological treatment, probably under psychological treatment. So it could be that she's also having still psychotic attacks. But the movie doesn't tell you all of this. All that the movie tells you is Trixie reading the messages that say, why would she send things like that? Trixie, you were boring. And Trixie complain, why would you ruin someone's moment? Why does she has this hostility? I have no idea where all of this come from. Why didn't the movie spend 30 seconds to say, where does this come along? It's the illness. It's not the person that is speaking. It's the illness. But of course they cannot say that, because the point of Katya being in the movie is so that she can be demonized, so that we connect with Trixie. If Katya is a demon, then Trixie is a victim, and we should empathize with the victim. This is one of the oldest and cheapest tricks in the books, and one that we see play out on Drag Race over and over and over again, especially since we got the new seasons of VH1. On season 12, you've seen it happening between Brita and Aiden. I talked about that ad nauseum. And this is the same exact trick again. Take someone, making into a demon, so that another one can be a victim and elevated because of its victim status. This is really disingenuous. This is disrespectful of Katya. And most of all, if you need to do things like this to show the human side of Trixie Mattel, then you have understood absolutely nothing about Trixie Mattel. Zero. Really zero. And I'm not a diehard fan, but I have no problem in seeing the human behind the character, because she doesn't hide it. It's part of her shtick. That is a part of the person that always comes out in the persona. So if you need to use tricks like this, then you should probably look for another job. I'm sorry that I'm so hard on them, but a movie of this caliber deserved people with, I don't know, that could do a much better job, a much better job than this, because you cannot demonize someone like Katya. She's not an unknown person, you know, a random person that people will believe, oh, this person is really a demon. And the point is, even if this person was a shitty person, this person has an illness. You're not only demonizing the person, you are demonizing the person because she has an illness, which is even a worse message to send out there. It's even worse. And you see where I'm going with this. You start to see where I'm going with this. When the movie hits his lows, like this moment, it really hits low, like really low. It's a pity. It's unfair. It's disservice to the people and disservice to the fan, and it's disingenuous, because you know, we the fans, which are 90% of the people who watch this movie, we know exactly what's been going on. We know what's been going on. You know, mental illness is something that our queens are really open about. So we don't fall for she's a shitty person. We are most likely to think, well, no, she has a problem. That's why she's acting like a shitty person. Because she has a problem, and she is in the middle of solving it. So it was really. I would like to tell you that this was cringy and unfair, but to me it just felt sad. It just felt really sad for all the wrong reasons. So moving along, we move to the next section of the movie. where we have Trixie talking about gifts and letters from the fan. And like I said before, I don't know how you felt about this, but the impression that I have was that Trixie was really uncomfortable about it. I have no idea why. I'm not in her head. But she goes through this letter, there is a fan that is saying something like, you saved my life, and Trixie is like, what the hell is this? What the hell is this? Why do they always want to kill themselves for some reason? Which is kind of confusing, isn't it? I mean, she is supposed to empathize with the fans, but in this section, she really looks like, okay, let's be direct. She looks as if she's thinking, these people are completely crazy, but they pay my bills, so I have to move along with it. I am surprised that they spend hours and hours and hours making a sketchbook for me. I think it's a loss of time, but if they want to do it, let them do it. Because at the end of the day, this is my job. This is how I pay the bills. This is the impression I was left with, by watching this section. And then again, you, the director, don't have to leave me with this impression. This is the hero of your movie. She doesn't have to look like an asshole unless you are setting up a redemption storyline. But this redemption storyline never comes in the movie. It never comes. Of course, what I do appreciate is that in a way it kind of stays true to the person, because if this is the way Trixie feels, this is the way Trixie feels, and you are depicting exactly that. But then, if you decided to show me this, then you also have to spend a moment to give a sense for it, to try to make me understand why there is this awkwardness with the interaction with the fans. So there's another thing in which the movie really felt miserable in a way. Really, I don't know. You don't make your hero look like an asshole. That's the problem. They make Trixie look like an asshole. They make Brian look like an asshole. So that's a pity, because Trixie is kind of an asshole. Especially that's her shtick. That's what's funny about her. But you don't have to present the person as an asshole, because otherwise you're not. This is a celebration. This movie is a celebration, and I don't understand why they would do something like this. I mean, of course you have to have a part talking about the fans, because this movie in the first place is a service to the fans. But you don't want to make it look like they are an impediment. They are something that you have to deal with, because fans are not the ones who make a career for someone that you do with hard work, but they are the ones who sustain the career over time. So they don't deserve to be left with the impression, even if it's only just an impression, but they don't deserve to be left with an impression that they are some kind of a weight, some kind of a problematic thing that is part of the job. So this is another low that I found in the movie. Of course, it's not the lowest point. The lowest point is coming much after. So after going through all the things with Katya and all the demonization of someone in order to elevate someone else, after an awkward interaction with the fans, we have what for me was the best part of the movie. So we have Trixie giving out a radio interview. What's happening? Basically, you see Trixie tired on the phone, which is very understandable, who has to go for another job, this time on the phone for a radio show. And she tries, you can see that she really tries her best to, to do her job. But since the cameras are there, we can also see her facial expression. So we can also have a glimpse of how she feels tired, tired of the whole thing. And this was really one of those moments in the movie in which it really struck the right chords with me. It really resonated with me because it happens a ton of time that you have a ton of other things in your mind, but you have to do your job. You have to do your job. And the problem is, and this is something that really resonated with me, her job in this moment was to expose parts of her past that are uncomfortable to talk about. Think about it for a moment. Really, take 20 seconds and think about it for a moment. This is her job. Her privacy is on sale. Her traumatic past is on sale. She is tired and she's on the phone, but she has to do it. This is what I talk about when I say this movie has the heart in its right place. This is what I want to see. This is the real unglamorous side of drag and having a drag career, especially having a drag career in a moment in history, in the history of humanity, in which we are all constantly interacting and constantly connected. This was the best part of the movie for me. It was powerful. It was executed perfectly. And my hope was that the whole movie was like this, that it picks a punch. It really leaves you with, it leaves you breathless in a way at the realization of what it really means to be into this kind of business and to have to live up to the high expectation that a character like Trixie and Brian has to live up to. So we have this really, really awkward moment in which they asked her about her past, and she started opening up a little bit about what happened to her stepdad. There was something really troubling when she talked about being at gunpoint at some point. It's really, really, in a way, it kind of feels too intimate. It kind of feels like you don't have to say that. Come on. You don't have to. Don't do this to you. Even though it's your job, don't do this. Just say it was really uncomfortable, I felt really sorry. I connected with the character. This is where the movie it's at its high, because I feel for the character, and it's not in a cheap way. It's not done in a cheap way. And also, finally, we have this interview with Trixie, who for the first time in the movie is used in the proper way. So the movie is a succession of parts that were filmed live and an interview with Trixie Mattel, probably done in her apartment. It looks like it's a studio setting. There is lightning behind the camera. And this interview part should work as a glue. They should hold all the different sections of the movie together. When you do a documentary like this, you always want the interview part to explain better what's happening during the movie. It's kind of like the talking heads in Drag Race and reality TV. They are there to explain the context. And this is the first time that we have the interview part with Trixie being used properly, because she talks about the situation, she expands over it, she talks about being taken away from her home by the social services, she talks about her mother. This is also the first moment that we really know something about Trixie's mother, at least from the point of view of the movie. And what we know about her is that she didn't care when her son was taken away. We'll talk about it later. But this was the best section for me in the movie. This was the movie at its peak. After this, it all goes downhill. So after being emotionally touched by what's happening on screen, we move on to the next section of the movie, which is the Trixie and Katya show with Bob the drag queen, because Bob was filling up for Katya. This section adds nothing to the movie. This is one of those sections that I talked about that was probably used to bring the movie to the 90 minutes mark, because nothing happens. Nothing happens at all. And it goes on for a good 5 or 6 minutes, and I don't even know why it's there. Well, you know why I think that it's there, but it adds absolutely nothing to the movie. After this, we go to a viewing party for All Stars 3, and well, what happens here? Well, not much happens here at all. Not much happens here at all. I mean, there is this thing going on for about 5 minutes, which is the episode in which Ben eliminates herself. So, it was like the pinnacle of All Stars 3. Ooh, Ben eliminated us. We have to show it. We have to show it. It's more service to the Drag Race brand, like I said before. And it goes on, and it goes on, and it goes on. But it brings nothing to the movie. It adds nothing to the movie. It doesn't move the plot along. It's just there. It's just there. The only remarkable part at this point in the movie was the next section, when we get Trixie talking with her assistant. Why did I like this part? Because Trixie is complaining. She is complaining about being on Drag Race. I am surprised that World of Wonder watched this movie, watched the final cut of this movie, and allowed Trixie to basically kind of take a dump on the brand, if I can say it like that. But if you follow the review so far, you're probably thinking the same thing that I am thinking. Probably no one really watched the final cut of this movie before giving it a go. So Trixie is basically lamenting the fact that being on Drag Race is horrible. It's a horrible experience because people judge you based on that. They don't see what you do out of Drag Race. They don't see the real abilities of the character. They absolutely never see the person behind it, and this is part of the game. You want to have a career, at least in the US, and you want to really rise to the top. Then Drag Race is what's going to bring you there, but it comes with a price. It comes with a price. And another things that they talk about in this section of the movie is that people always forget the preparation that you have to do before Drag Race. People are probably working. They are probably working their ass off to prepare for being in the race. She's on All Stars. So we also knew that basically they called her 3 weeks before and said, listen, you're on All Stars. Get ready. Get ready, no matter what you're doing. You have live shows to do, that's your problem. Because this is what happens. We have queens leak out that they had 2 weeks to prepare for All Stars. So I have no doubt, I have a little bit of a doubt, but let's say that the evidence out there points out to the fact that she probably didn't have any time to prepare, like everybody else. And she's complaining about this. So I am surprised that they let this thing air. I'm really surprised that they did it. After this, we move again to a viewing party of Drag Race in service of the brand. Once again, of course, is the finale, so it also has a little bit of, it has sense that it's in the movie. But it's like the 4th time that we have Drag Race mentioned in a movie about Trixie Mattel. Drag Race, it's what kickstarted Trixie Mattel's career in the mainstream media. It's not the whole entirety of her career. So it's really puzzling to see so much of Drag Race in this movie, But we are here. It's obligatory because in the end, Trixie won All Stars. But we have to go through this. By this point, I think the Drag Race segment reached about 15 minutes. It's starting to become a little bit too much, and the hassle in me is thinking, well, if you really wanted so much publicity for Drag Race, why didn't you make a movie about Drag Race? It would have been easier. People would have watched it anyway. I don't know. It felt intrusive. It felt so intrusive. I don't know. In all of this, at least we have a cameo from Jinx Monsoon. And here Jinx says something really, really interesting. Again, how the hell did this make it to the final cut? Because she said, listen, the Drag Race games work like this. As soon as you win, there's going to be another season. So what is she saying is that it doesn't really matter if you win or not, because part of being in this brand is that when the next batch of queens comes, you will be forgotten. You will be forgotten. So you don't really have time to enjoy your moment, let's say it like this, because you always have this thing that in a very short amount of time, somebody else is going to come, somebody else is going to be on the spotlight. And this is not said in the movie. This, I'm adding it to the movie. This sets an extra layer of pressures to these entertainers to really deliver when their season comes along. Because after that, all the eyes will be on someone else. And this is especially important this year. Because with what's been happening in the world, you know that the girls from season 12 didn't really have the time to go out there, make their money, take advantage of this year of fame, because we've all been basically stuck at home. So, you know, looking back, putting this in the movie was really a smart thing to do for us, the viewers, from the perspective of publicity for Drag Race. I don't know how good that was. It didn't really make Drag Race look any better, because when you have a queen basically saying, listen, in the drag race, from the point of view of Drag Race, all queens are expendable. Everybody is useful, but nobody is how can I say, indispensable? Is that the right word? Well, whatever it is. So after this section, we move along again, and we go to what was for me the absolute worst part of the movie whatsoever, is the paying the bills for the mom. This section was horrible. It was really horrible to watch. It did an awful job. Well, let's go through it. Let me first explain what happens, and then I can tell you why it really disgusted me in a way. So you have Trixie on the phone. She's paying a bill for her mother. We know from listening to the phone calls that Trixie's mother asked her to pay the bill because she's probably in financial struggle. After this, you have Trixie offering to buy a car. She didn't ask for a car. Trixie is offering. After this, she asked her mother to come to the show. And the mother's response is, well, I don't know, I have to work. She's not really convinced that she can come. So why did it feel so annoying? So I don't know. I don't think I can even find the word to describe how this section made me feel. Well, if you ever had to deal with manipulative people, if you had the misfortune to be with manipulative people, you know that one of the tactics that they use is that they will offer you something most of the time without you even asking for those things that you need, so you're going to accept. And after that, they will ask you to do something. It always goes this way. You need something, but you don't need it to the point of really asking. This person comes in and gives it to you. After that, it asks you to do something uncomfortable. That's why it probably struck so bad with me, because this is how it's presented in the movie. I'm not saying this is what happened in real life. This is how it is presented in the movie. So they made Trixie look like a manipulative asshole. This is what they did. This is what they did. And why did they do this? Well, I think they were trying for the very cheap, oh, look at Trixie. She's so nice to her mom, and her mom is such an asshole. So feel sorry for Trixie. And I cannot stop at asking, why didn't you just bring forward a more truthful depiction of what's going on, but then add a nice score in the foreground that would set my emotional tone? Why didn't you do that? It would have been much easier. It would have felt more genuine. And who the hell portrays somebody as manipulative as a way to make me feel sorry for them? This drove me nuts. This really drove me nuts. It's really a disservice to Trixie. It's really a disservice. I don't know who greenlit something like this. I mean, I am not a director. I don't write storyboards. I'm just a nobody. But even me as a nobody notices that this is not how you make me empathize with the character. This is not how you do it. Because how can I empathize with somebody that looks as a manipulative asshole, taking advantage of the financial difference in order to obtain something that she wants? Because this is how she comes off. And if you don't know Trixie Mattel, this is what you're going to believe about her if you watch this movie. You see what I mean? So, after this, Trixie starts a new show. We move to the news section of the movie, and we get to see a little bit of Trixie performing. This is something that I liked. This should have been part of this movie. I would have loved to see much more about it. We got some glimpses here and there, but also don't forget that probably most of these shows are under copyright, so showing too much of them would probably have had an additional cost. And this is the same for Drag Race, for example, because don't forget, Drag Race is produced by World of Wonder, but then it's sold to VH1. So in order to show parts of Drag Race in this movie, which it's sold to Netflix, they need to first get a clearance from VH1. Of course, this kind of clearances always come with, you have to pay them. You have to pay them. So it's service. It's an investment in your own brand, because World of Wonder is basically paying VH1 so that they can make a movie to sell to Netflix, which also services the brand, but still you have to pay something for it. Anyway, we get a glimpse of the show. We get a glimpse of the show, and we see the family of Trixie attending the live show in Milwaukee. What we see is Trixie's mother, Trixie's aunt, or aunt, depending how you like to pronounce it, and Trixie's sister. Look how we see them. You see people laughing around them, but Trixie's family looks like, what's going on here? What the hell is going on here? Did they really have to choose this screenshot to show the family? Do you start to see what I mean? Making people look good by comparison. By pushing someone down, you make someone else looking good by comparison. Because I am sure that in an hour-long show, there were moments in which her family was laughing. But this is what we are shown as viewers. We see them as bored. They are bored. It's like they don't even want to be there. And by the time we go in the post-show, where we actually see, for the first time, we actually see a live interaction with the family, by the time we get there, unfortunately, the image of Trixie's family is already compromised behind redemption. If you watched and followed the movie until now, you're basically thinking, these people are assholes. These people are hassles. Poor Trixie, she has to deal with them. And there's another missed opportunity, because think about it for the moment. I don't know the situation. It could be that her family is really an asshole. Then why don't you take a moment to explore the theme of having to deal with a family that doesn't really appreciate you. Because that is something that in a way or another, especially as queer people, at some level we all have to deal with this, not being able to meet the expectations of the family. This is a common theme everywhere. Maybe it's a little bit more pronounced if you are queer, but this is something we all have to deal with. So why not spend a moment to do that? And the answer is because that's not why her family is presented in the movie. By the end of the movie, the only possible conclusion for me is that her family is there to make Trixie look bad by comparison. To make Trixie look good by comparison. And this is really unfortunate. This is really unfortunate because by watching this section, honestly, her mother looks like she was having the time of her life. If I didn't know anything before, I would say, well, the mother is really enjoying herself, She's getting into it. She doesn't really care that it's queer, that it's different. She is feeling her oats. Let's say it like this. This is what I felt in the backstage. But of course, you are not allowed to see it this way because of everything that happened before in the movie. And, this is what I'm talking about when I say the movie is disingenuous. It's really disingenuous. So after this, we move to Los Angeles, where we have Trixie talking about Katya. Do you remember everything that we said before with the Katya storyline? In this section, which is really near the end of the movie, at this point I think we are 70 or 75 minutes in the movie. In about 10 minutes the movie will be over, and Trixie is saying, I hate the idea that Katya hates me. She's saying that she is missing the friend. She doesn't give a shit about the career. What she misses is her friend. So now that we know this, we can go back to that moment in the very beginning and think about the fact, why did they present them as such big friends, only to be Trixie concerned about the career? If you are not going to set up a redemption storyline. Because if you're going to set a redemption storyline, you don't show me them as friends, you show them as co-workers. It's part of sending a very clear message. It's part of the storytelling. There is an evolution. They started as co-workers. At some point, one of the two has a mental breakdown. The other one is worried about the work. But by the time the movie goes along, the person realizes it was not just a co-worker. It was a friend, not just any friend. It was an integral part of my life. And this is what we are being shown in the movie. So how the hell did they watch the final cut and not fix the beginning of the movie? Why didn't they do that? This is sloppy. This is really, really sloppy. But, at least we have this section here. So it doesn't make Trixie look completely like an asshole, which by this point in this movie, they have been doing kind of everything possible to make Trixie look like an asshole. I don't know if you agree with me on this, but this is kind of the feeling that I had. So by the next section, we have a little bit more of service for Drag Race and the Drag Race brand. We are at DragCon, and nothing happens here. Nothing happens. The only thing that happens is this fan interaction, which was really heartwarming. This is the first time in a 90 minutes movie in which Trixie is interacting with a fan, and it looks like she's really living her best life while doing so. Why didn't we get this from the beginning? I don't know. By this point, I stopped asking myself questions. It's going to, it is how it is. It is how it is. After the DragCon section, we are back with Katya. There is no explanation whatsoever. There is no talking about the rehab. There is no talking about how they got to come in contact with each other again, how they patched things up. There is nothing like this at all. They are simply back together, they are holding hands, and they are talking. And this is the end of the movie. We have the obligatory what happened to them after the movie section, which really tells nothing. And that's the end of the movie. That's the end of the movie. I was thoroughly unimpressed. It was such a missed opportunity. Of course, if you are a die-hard fan, you're going to love this no matter what. That is the definition of being a die-hard fan. This is why, and I can relate to this, because I'm a die-hard fan of RuPaul's Drag Race. So despite the fact that I have a whole show criticizing it from the first episode to the last, with Livestream going from 2 to 3 hours for every episode, in spite of that, I'm still completely addicted to it, and I love every second of it. So I completely relate to this kind of fans. But this movie could have been so much more, and it wasn't. It really wasn't. So how much do we give them from a scale from 0 to 10? Probably a 3. Probably a 3 for effort. I don't know how this movie managed to get a 90% score on Rotten Tomatoes, especially after we discussed everything wrong with the movie, especially the cinematography that's basically non-existent, the problem with the pacing, the way the story is told and developed. These are things that this is the kind of movie that would come out if I would make a movie. And I have no idea how to make a movie. I mean, I think I have an idea, but if I would make a movie, it would be as low quality as probably this one. So, what do you think? Tell me, what do you think? Bring on the snarky comments. I try to be as fair as possible to this movie, especially because I know that there are fans out there that really hold it dear. You know, they hold it dear. But for me, there were a ton of things wrong with this movie. I don't know if I can forgive the producers for this. But you know, we saw this at the very. If you happen to watch the movie after this review, at the very beginning, they say something like produced, but no, they don't say produced by World of Wonder. They say something, with the assistance of World of Wonder. You know, it's kind of like they were scared to put in the title screen, this is produced by World of Wonder. But then you go to the Wikipedia page and you find out, yes, it's produced by World of Wonder. And, you know, when that thing came along, I watched this movie completely blind, you know. I didn't watch any reviews. I didn't read the plot. I didn't even go through Rotten Tomatoes to read what other people thought about this movie. I went in this movie completely blind. And after 1 minute, when I saw the World of Wonder logo, I thought, shit, this is going to be a cash grab. This is going to be a cash grab. And by the end of the movie, I'm thoroughly convinced that it was a cash grab. So how much did Netflix pay for this movie? I think there's a good chance they paid anything between 10 to 20 millions. And considering the production value of the movie, I would say that they couldn't have possibly spent more than 2 or 3 millions. So, good deal for World of Wonder. Good deal for World of Wonder. Now, I'm going to take a 3 minutes to smoke a cigarette, and then we move on to the comments. And we can talk about everything you would like to talk about. The night is still young. So see you in 5 minutes, 3 minutes, something like that. But I'll leave you with some nice music. I will edit it out later because it's copyrighted. But I will leave you with some real music this time. None of that free shit out there. So see you later.
Always great music. I'm asking questions time and time again in a race that never, ever ends. Hanging from my lips in the swaying breeze. I'm hoping and I gotta let it go.
Today seems a clutter of confusion. I really think that computer in there has just got to be drunk.
Am I left the good and bad, the calm and go? Highs and lows are often all that show. Know it's time to go against the grain, or it will kill me down below. To live in comfort and know its warm embrace reminds me only to quicken up the pace. Know it's time to go against the grain, or it will kill me down below. Singing a song I never heard. All of a sudden, I know every word. And I know that there's no direction home. It's right here where all the wild things grow. Am I off the good and bad, the calm and go? Highs and lows are often all that show. Know it's time to go against the grain, or it will kill me down below. To live in comfort and know its warm embrace reminds me only to quicken up the pace. Know it's time to go against the grain, or it will kill me down below.
But he's talking about the greatest brain ever made by man.
And we're back. And we're back. Let's go to the comments. Let's relax a little bit. Let me recline my chair, put myself in position. I have my vaping things, a little bit of water, and let's see what you have to say about that. Adrian Perez says, I'm not a huge fan of Trixie, but after this movie, it makes me like her less. Yeah, that's the problem. That's exactly the problem. It's a very unflattering depiction of Trixie. They should have taken her time, mostly because Netflix is basically throwing money at everything. I mean, if you guys have Netflix, you know that you can find basically everything in there. They really throw money at every possible project. Of course, they are the biggest streaming platform that we have at the moment, so they try different things. So I am not surprised that they greenlit paying for a movie like moving parts. I mean, after all, if I'm not mistaken, they paid for AJ and the Queen, and that was really bad. That was really, really bad. It felt like a show that could have come out in the 80s. It was absolutely out of touch with the times. So, and they also paid for Star Trek Discovery. So, I mean, if that's not proof that they throw money at everything, I don't know what to say to convince you anymore. Diogo says, the fan, you saved my life. Trixie, thanks. That kind of sounds, but you know, I can relate to that because I remember in the very, very early stages of my relationship, at some point my partner says, you know, I love you. And I was like, where the fuck did that come from? So I said, well, thanks. You know, I relate to that. Delta Schlin says, even if they concentrated on Trixie / Brian's reactions to Katya's situation and their communication, they would have had a documentary with a point. I completely agree. But the question that you have to ask yourself was, why did they make this movie in the first place? Did they do to service the character, or did they do it to make money? Because to me, it was made to make money. I don't think Trixie had really any saying on this. You know, we talked about it before, but and I always talked about it. There is the exclusivity clause in the contract. Maybe the All-Stars contract is a little bit different, so they are not really forced to participate in a project, but you know, it felt kind of not just a missed opportunity, but it kind of felt like Trixie didn't really have a choice, you know. I think that they came like saying, well, listen, we have this contract and it's good for your career to make a movie. People will like it no matter what. So just sign here and take this money. And Trixie said, well, you know what? What the fuck? Give me the money. Because she's like that, you know. By the end of the movie, there is this segment that I liked a lot when she said, well, if one day my career goes off, I'll just sell all this bunch of stuff and go away with the money. You know, I wanted to see more of that. I wanted to see more of that in the movie. Fantasia said, pretty much Trixie hates her job. That's the feeling that I had as well. Of course, all of us, we all hate our jobs at some point. It's inevitable. It's mostly because you really have no choice. You have to do what you have to do in order to pay your bills. The problem is that when you are a public personality like Brian, what you are selling is yourself. What you're selling is yourself. We see this happen a lot with entertainers or YouTube, for example. All these bloggers that are out there, what they're basically selling is themselves. And that can really bring this feeling of depersonalization. You don't have privacy anymore. Everything that happens to you is out there. That's what you're selling. And it's hard to be really excited about selling the most intimate parts of yourself. It's what I call emotional prostitution. So, you know, it's a very hard term to use, but that's exactly how I feel about it. And let's hope that the YouTube algorithm doesn't pick that word up. Otherwise, they will lock the stream. Delta Schlin says, some queens start doing drag because they're performers and it's stage to perform on. I mean, Brian had country folk album out before Trixie existed. This is a really good point. I think she also touched about it in the movie when she said that at some point the two things collided together and she thought, well, why not do this in drag? Why not bring a new thing out of drag, which is a really great message to put out there, because as we've seen, drag was kind of born with this halo of provocative entertainment. And since we moved in the new millennium, it has become so much more, which is a good thing. I'm not gatekeeping on that. It's a form of art, and art belongs to everyone to use it to express themselves in any kind of way they desire to do. And if that pays your bills, then good for you. Good for you. Fantasia said, I love Bob the drag queen. I love Bob as well. There is a video out there from Lee Dawson, the guys that make the Roo Caps. And he created this fake award thing. And you see this part, I don't know what it was, if it was a video, if it was a live stream, where Bob is basically speaking with Peppermint. And he says, well, did you read that article that came out on somewhere, and somebody say, ooh, you're talking about the fracking. Damn. Delta Schlin said, I strongly disagree about Trixie and Katya starring Bob. It shows how serious the Viceland show was, that there was a real contract involved, and that it was a bigger production than I don't know what you mean by that. I mean, at some point they had a contract, it had to be carried on, and probably in this contract there was a clause that the show had to go on no matter what. I hope that there was a clause in there that would allow Katya to be relieved of her duties if she had a medical problem like she had, but I don't think so. I think Katya was hit financially by that contract. But, you know, you have to do what you have to do. I felt sorry for Bob because it kind of put him in a very difficult situation, if you will, because everybody kind of knew what was happening, but it was not really talked about. You know, it was never kind of addressed properly. It's not like somebody really involved with the production put a video out there, explained the situation. I don't even know if that would have done Katya any favor, because the last thing you want in that situation is someone else speaking on your part. So it was really a difficult situation. But what do you have to do? There's a contract there. Fantasia said, it made Trixie's mom look kind of bad. Yeah, Trixie's mom looked really like an asshole. A lot of people look like an asshole in this movie. You have enlightened me on how to manipulate people. Don't do that. Don't do that. But it's real. I mean, it's real. I know I have some people in my life that, oh, what the hell? Some of my family is like that. Some of my family is like that. So I was kind of raised in an environment with things like that going on. So I know them really well, and I resonate really strongly when I see them around. So I hated that part of the movie. I really hated it. It was awful. It was so bad to watch. It was such a wrong example to give, because this kind of things, it looks like, oh, it's just a movie, it's just a thing. But the moments in which you're not really paying attention on what is going on are the moments in which you are introjecting this kind of example. They kind of linger in your subconscious, and you get exposed to them once, twice, thrice, and by the time you get exposed to them enough times, you start enacting them without even realizing it. That's why I really hated this moment in the movie, because it served no purpose. It was a cheap way to make me empathize with Brian, and they didn't need to do that. They absolutely didn't need to do that. It didn't take a smart director to achieve this kind of emotional connection with Brian without having to resort to something like that. Delta Schlin said 4 out of 10 from me. You are generous. You are generous. Fantasia. Let's make a movie. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. I wished it was so much better. I mean, it's kind of an obligatory watch if you're a fan of the show, if you're a fan of Trixie. But let's just say that I rewatched the movie only because you guys wanted a review. That's the only reason why I rewatched it. I don't think I will ever rewatch this movie again. I think it was interesting doing a review. Firstly, because I never made a review, but also because it gave us the opportunity to touch on very important topics that are somehow thrown in this movie, but never really elaborated. So it was a good opportunity to talk about things like manipulations, for example, the use and abuse of these entertainers who get so much projected on them from the fans that it kind of becomes overpowering. And there were interesting topics in this movie, so it was interesting to talk about this topics. Diogo says it's produced by World of Wonder. He got money, girl. Chi Chi says a low 2 for me. I would agree with that. I really would agree with that. Fantasia, they should have done a Bob documentary. That's a great idea. But considering how low the Trixie movie went, I don't think we're going to see anything like that anytime soon. They will probably do a TV show. They will probably bring these queens more into TV shows. But a movie, I don't think so. In order to have, if you want to make a movie, you can make a movie. It's not that you cannot make it. But the moment you make it, you have to find somebody willing to pay for it. You have to find somebody willing to distribute it. So despite the fact that we live in an era in which anybody can make a movie and have a major streaming service picking it up, I think that after the experience of AJ and the Queen and after the Trixie documentary, which I have no doubt that the marketing department of Netflix already took into account the fact that a lot of the views would come from the fans, not from new viewers, I don't think we're going to get another movie anytime soon, unless is produced with somebody's own money and then basically gave away for free, or maybe crowdfunded. But then again, you can crowdfund a movie, but you need to have, editing is not easy, directing is not easy, scoring is not easy. These are all things that you need professionals to do. Of course, you can take independent creators, let's say it like this, and they might be able to bring something on the table which is really remarkable. But the possibility of something like that looks really remote to me. Like, for example, I was really impressed by the work that was done on the Dracula Resurrection. You have this final segment which was done so well. It was done so well. And to think that basically a handful of people put that thing together without any, how can I say, without having this long resumes and this long stream of experiences needed to be considered an expert. It was really, really remarkable, but it's kind of a rare treat. So I don't think I don't think we're going to get any more drag queen movies anytime soon. I might be wrong. I hope that I'm wrong, and I hope if they come out, they are better. I hope they learn from their mistakes. Mr. Question Mark, that's how I'm going to say to call you. Says hello. How are you guys? Goodish. I'm goodish. Let's say it like this. Welcome. Bolivia Zavala Garcia. Okay. I'm sorry for butchering your name. Finally, I made it. Hello, everyone. Hello. We are in the relaxing part of the stream, so well, welcome. Welcome. The question mark means man or woman? Well, question mark said, I've never been to one of these streams. You haven't lost much. It's basically me being salty about many different things and look too much into everything. So if that's your thing, then welcome. Diogo says, imagine Bob on the computer and is talking to a guy while pretending to be a Brazilian model saying obrigado. That would be iconic. Fantasia, welcome to the stream. Here is usually where they start getting shady. Yeah, because we're untucking. Come on, didn't we learn anything from Drag Race? We're kind of untucking. Amateur season, Jen has entered the chat with her shade button. Chat. I lost the chat again. Yay, this is something that always happens. You know, the YouTube streaming software has a chat that bumps around. It doesn't allow you to, you know, naturally scroll down the comments so that you can follow one after the other. No, at some point it decides that it wants to go to the very end of the comment. So you have to scroll again and looking like a complete idiot while you're desperately trying to find the next comment. Where are we? Fantasia, I thought the acting in AJ and the Queen was horrible at some point. Well, I mean, premise. RuPaul is iconic. RuPaul revolutionized drag and offered it to the world. With that said, she cannot act. She cannot even perform. I mean, she was lip syncing in that show and she looked like I would look in a wig trying to perform for the first time. I mean, it was embarrassing. It was cringy. Come on. AJ and the Queen was really cringy. I know that everybody is celebrating it because, you know, there are a ton of queens in there. It was a great opportunity for everybody and so on and so on. But it wasn't renewed for a reason because it had basically zero production value. It was stupid without being aware of the fact that it was stupid. Because, you know, self-aware media, that I can enjoy. That I can really enjoy. But the moment they start taking themselves a little bit too serious and it's something mediocre, it becomes, no, pass. Amateur season. I watched AJ and the Queen with one of my family members and we both thought it was meh. Well, you are very, very nice people. You are, you know, you have great manners. My comment would have been, what the hell is this shit? Diogo says, the last live saying that J. Jolie is a better actress than RuPaul. It's iconic. You remember that? Did you guys found out the movie in which Jade was acting? J. Jolie, not to be confused with Jade from season 1. Don't watch it. Don't watch it. It's I mean, it's no, come on, let's skip over that. Fantasia, Trixie couldn't have wanted to do this movie as she was so sad the whole movie. Yeah, she looked miserable all the time. I mean, it was also a difficult time in her life. I mean, think about it from this point of view. You are doing that kind of job with everything that comes with doing that kind of job, but on top of that, you are traveling today and reach some place tomorrow. If you're lucky, you do it by plane. You're probably going to do it by bus because you have a ton of stuff with you. So the moment you reach that place in the night, you have to perform. Then you go to bed, you wake up the day after, and you have to travel again, only to go to another place. Maybe you have half a day to rest, and then you have to perform again. I mean, it's exhausting. It's no doubt that living like that is completely exhausting. Not to talk about that it's not just about performing, it's also about interacting with the fans, because one of the things that we got in this new millennium was that it's normal now to pay for meet and greets, it's normal to pay for hugs, it's normal to pay for pictures, it's normal to pay for interaction. I mean, when I was really, really young, I cannot really recall that things like this did really happen. You know, there was something called the backstage. If you were lucky for some reason, you would get there and spend a little bit of time with your entertainer, and that was it. It was not like this long lines for the meet and greet, which of course brings more money, so they have to do it. And all this in constant interaction. I could never do that. Mostly because I don't like physical interaction with people that I don't know. With people that I know, it's constant hugs, it's constant pats on the back. It's a constant physical contact that complements the psychological contact, if you know what I mean. But with strangers, no. For me, it's a big no. I could never do that. I could absolutely never do that. I know that it really means nothing, but I still couldn't do it. Fantasia, I need to find this Jade video. I'm sending you a link privately. I'm going to send you a link privately. Wait for it. One of these days you will find a link. But trust me, you will regret it. Trust me, you will regret it. But it was your choice. You gave me your word, so that's what's coming. You asked for it. Diogo says, there are two people in the world. The ones who like the fracking better than its fashion, and the ones who likes its fashion better than the fracking. Did you know? No, I can't. You know, by this point, you guys that are always here know that I have like a ton of projects on the side, and I cannot bring myself to finish anything. To add on that, I some weeks ago I created a new lyrics for RuPaul songs that it's all about the fracking. I even downloaded autotune to sing over them. I think it's hilarious, and I would really like to find the time to sit there and do this, because you know that I live for the fracking. I live for RuPaul not saying anything about it. I live for all the queens trying not to mention it because you don't want to upset Mama Ru, especially when she has the power to make you not earn that much money anymore by throwing you out of the family. So I love everything about it. Of course, I don't love the pollution that comes with it. How could I love that? But it's kind of, I don't know. It's a surreal situation. It's really, really surreal, and that's my thing, of course. Amateur season, but is it fashion? Well, that depends if you're going to sissy that rig or not. Then you tell me if it's fashion. Corelio, hello there. Have you seen my post about the winter season on Discord? Sorry if you have talked about it already. I haven't logged in on Discord for like 2 weeks. 2 or 3 weeks. 2 or 3 weeks. Well, what I can tell you, if I am excused for that, is that I followed the US election in real time for the whole week, which means that I didn't sleep for like 4 days. It was more entertaining than the Halloween special for RuPaul's Drag Race. That I can tell you that much. Seeing Mr. McDonald Trump slowly crumbling and trying to incite civil war in the U.S. It was worrying. It was exciting. It was something. It was really something. I think that the world will remember the U.S. election of 2020 because of the despicable action of the U.S. president. Because you don't do shit like that. Especially when you have a ton of people that weren't really educated by your system to always put a pause on their train thought and think, okay, where is the proof? People are not trained to do this. They are not trained to do this normally, and with the kind of I don't mean to seem insulting, but if you look up every year, there is like this article that comes out rating the quality of educations in school around the world. And the US, despite being one of the most powerful nations in the world, always manages to score really low. Like really, really low. Like they don't give a shit about educating people. It's not like you have something that you have to do, but you want to enrich your population. You want to make them able to achieve their full potential through education. And from the outside, it looks like the system, the educational system, always wants to raise a bunch of a bunch of people who are educated enough to be able to consume, but never educated enough to free themselves of some kind of, how can I say, psychological chains. If you know what I mean, it's surreal. You have seen the protests coming out after all the shit that Trump said on social media. It's to me, it's unbelievable. To me, it's completely unbelievable because that's something that's a message that I started hearing in school since a very, very young age. Don't believe words. Look at the facts. It's been a constant message that came along since I was 7 or 8 years old, and it came from school. Of course, it also came from the family. It came from the surrounding. But it's something that, in a way, we're kind of trained to do. And seeing people rallying and basically being at war with each other because you had people outside making the counting of the votes even more difficult on other people who were inside, some of them volunteers, some of them were trying to do the job. All of this based on nothing. Nothing. It was surreal, and I'm sorry to say this. You're probably thinking that I'm an asshole. A little bit I am, but it was so entertaining. It was so entertaining to watch. I couldn't get my eyes off of it. I mean, you really don't know. There have been 4 days straight in which I slept like 2 hours, like 4 hours a day at intervals of 2 hours, because that how much I was into that. Adrian Perez says we need Hurricane Bianca 7. I didn't dislike Hurricane Bianca. It's not one of those movies that you can say, oh, it's going to go viral, everybody is going to love it. It also came out really soon. I think if Hurricane Bianca came out right now, it would have been extremely most successful. But it's impressive that they did it on such a low budget. If the people who managed to bring Hurricane Bianca to life would have worked on Trixie Mattel's movie, I have no doubt they would have done such a better job. Amateur Season said, I saw that, but I stay away from spoilers. Oh, you're talking about what Corellia said. Yeah, I completely agree with that. I don't, it's not like I'm crazy about it. Oh my God, I saw a spoiler. This ruined my experience and blah, blah, blah. You know, the message that I try to send to you guys all of the time. It's not really about where you're going. It's more about how you're going there. So even if I get spoiled for something, it's still very entertaining for me. But, if I can stay away from them, I prefer it. I want the full experience, the fullest experience possible with something, especially when the new seasons comes along. I remember last spring when I was doing the chop from season 12, there was somebody who came in the chat for the live stream saying, this person is going to go home today, this other person is going to go home tomorrow, and this tomorrow next episode, and this other person is going to go out tomorrow, because I saw a video and it said this. And that's exactly what happened. And it's to be expected. It's to be expected when you go through the comments and you make a point of interacting with you guys and respond to the comments. There's always someone who is going to write things like this anyway. This year I will be organized better. Apart from the streams, I will have Mr. Invisible doing the responding of comments for the main channel. Because it's it throws away your thinking when you start thinking, okay, so if the spoiler said this and they have a good track record, then why it's annoying. If I have to be wrong, let me be wrong on my own. After that, I will come along and try to understand why I was wrong, and that might be interesting, but, at least let me do my thing. I'm having fun doing my thing. Let me do my thing. Fantasia says, Trixie didn't have much of anything or interest going on the movie, going on other than All Stars 3. I don't know. She had like live shows. She has the web show. I think she in the movie, she said she was doing a tour that was before Christmas, I believe. And then when the whole thing with the family started and so on, she started this show by herself, which had 40 different shows around the country. She had things going on. Then I don't know, maybe Maybe you mean something else. Moving along, I lost the chat again. Yay! Yay! Where am I? Where am I? Oh my god, I have to speed up. I'm so behind. I'm so behind. Oh, there we go. Fantasia, none of her Trixie's storyline on the show made me interested in her movie. Yeah, I got it. You hated the movie. I got it the first time. I remember when people started asking, oh, why don't we talk about moving parts? You know, there is this movie, it's about Trixie Mattel. Fantasia came out and said, it was so boring and manipulative. Sasha, if the All Winners is real, it's probably gonna be like the holiday special. I completely agree on that. If you watch the holiday special, I couldn't go past the first 20 minutes. But if you watch the entirety of it, you know that it was basically a cash grab. It was a way for RuPaul to sell her Christmas album, but you know, Ru is no Mariah. She will never have a hit like that. I mean, think about Mariah Carey. When it boggles my mind every time we go into Christmas season that it's always, always, always all I want for Christmas is you. And when you look back at her career and think, you know what will be the pinnacle of her career? That Christmas song. You will get so much money from that Christmas song because now it's everywhere. And she, you know, she collects on that song every single year. Corelio, don't joke about that. Bolivia said, it's okay, you read it fine. Well, better than they do it usually in my country. Really? Well, thank you. Thank you. Melanie says, the name of the movie was right. When certain parts came on, I moved to another room. Oh, Melanie, I love you. This was a good one. Sasha, I also hope not to think about it, but they don't want to damage the Queen's image and stuff like that. Well, they kind of, that was, you know, I wouldn't go as far as saying that they damaged Trixie's image, but they surely didn't do her any favor. Diogo says, the evolution of the floor show of season 3 of Dragula, of season 3 to Dragula Resurrection, it's so perfect. Like in season 3, I was watching more on the floor than the looks that the queens are serving. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. It's the way they edited it. It was done in such an artistic way. When you look back, you know, you are used to Drag Race, where you basically have 3 fixed cameras on the main stage, and they move between these cameras, and then they do a little bit of editing to show you the queen side by side, and that's it. The floor show on Dragula is a whole experience. It's a whole experience. And this, I believe, that comes directly from the Boulet brothers. They did some interviews for the Halloween special, and now they were really involved in first person on it. And this is something that I really, really appreciate. I have nothing but admiration for the amount of work and passion that they put directly into the show. You know, RuPaul, I have the feeling that she shows up, she goes to the makeup, she does her thing, and then she goes away. And that's the extent to which, you know, I feel like she participates in the show. With the Boulet is completely different, and I think it shows. I think it shows very clearly. Um, Delta Schlin says, what's your favorite drag show movie apart from Drag Race? I don't know if it categorizes as a drag movie, but my favorite one is Hedwig and the Angry Inch. I watched it when I was basically a kid, and I completely fell in love with it. It was done so well. Of course, it was done so well because before being a movie, it was a theater production that went on for, I think, 2 or 3 years. It was nominated for a Tony. The same actors that were on the off-Broadway, they also came back for the movie. It was done so well. The music was great, the story was great, the message was incredible, and in a way it was about drag. It was about drag, even though the protagonist is not really a transgender drag queen, is more a mutilated gay man who expresses himself in drag. I really hold it dear. I really, really hold it dear. It's a very, very good movie and a required watch for any queer person out there. If you haven't watched Hedwig and the Angry Inch, I'm going to kill you. I'm really going to kill you. You have to watch it. You have to watch it. Fantasia, we are talking about all winner seasons. All winner seasons for Drag Race. Can they afford it? I don't see queens like Bianca or Jinx Monsoon coming back for less than $1 million, maybe more. And I'm not talking about the grand prize. You know, when they go on Drag Race, you have a contract that says something like you will be paid like $200 per episode or something like that. And then we have the right to do this, we have the right to do that, and you should shut the fuck up and suck it all up because we are giving you a platform. So this is my view on the Drag Race contract. If they do an all-winner season, I think these queens will sit down and say, yes, I will participate. You will pay me. And you will pay me this much money to participate, regardless of how long I stay there. So I don't know. I don't know about this all-winner season. I don't think that they can really afford it. I'm skeptical. I mean, I would love to see an all-winner season, but I don't know how the hell they're going to make it happen. Because queens like Bianca Del Rio, for example, they will never put their image in the hands of World of Wonder, knowing what they could do with it, if not for a huge, huge prize. And we are talking queens who can easily make $5, $6, $7 million a year. A year. You know, you work less, make it $2 million. And you would risk losing all of that and end up like basically what's been going on with Brita or even Fifi O'Hara, that she's been constantly attacked. Even it's been 8 years since season 4. You still see people going on saying, Fifi, you're a bitch, you're this, you're that. I mean, no sane people would go back to Drag Race after winning Drag Race. Diogo, not J. Jolie winning the Oscar before Taylor Swift. Okay, I'm going to post a link to that in the Discord. Oh my god. They're going to ban us. Amateur season. I wonder if Bianca will return for all winners season. That you hit the nail. You hit the nail there because I was just talking about it. I don't think she will return at all. Maybe as a guest, not as a competitor. Not as a competitor. And I don't see World of Wonder accepting terms like Bianca coming in and saying, I have the last saying on my edit. I don't see World of Wonder concede to that at all. Fantasia, Latrice did a good job. And the Queens and the little girl was great. Oh, you're talking about AJ and the Queens. Well, it's Latrice. I mean, how can you not love Latrice? We make fun a lot of her edit on All Stars, but you know she's Latrice. I'm going to love her no matter what. Lisbeth, another day, another time, I will not watch the Christmas special. Don't watch it. Don't watch it. It's an hour of your time. If you I am kind of an aficionado of queer media. So if you want to watch things that will really make your time's worth, just ask. I can spend 5 minutes talking about all the movies and TV shows that really do us a great service. You can watch that. Corelio, I really hope Bianca accepts the invitation. She's allegedly on the fence about it. I don't know if they were there portraying Bianca as a villain, but she has all the cards to be portrayed as a villain. All of them. I don't know. I don't want... you've seen what happened to Latrice, And of course, she said the things that she said and blah, blah, blah. Maybe, power corrupts after a while, or after years and years and years of people always saying, yes, 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 you're beautiful, you're this, you're that. Maybe you lose track a little bit and you start feeling a little bit of entitled. That's part of being famous. That's part of a much easier life. It corrupts you. But you've seen the levels to which they took that new aspect of Latrice and absolutely make it the worst way possible. So I hope she doesn't go on Drag Race. I hope she doesn't. Sasha, AJ and the Queen could be good if you take all the RuPaul scenes out. Oh my God. They would have had a successful show if they had AJ running away from home and go live in a commune of drag queens. It would have been a much more interesting show to watch. Cesar Odinson says Taylor Swift should win an Oscar for always playing the victim. That's for sure. Well, it's kind of a thing in music. Bolivia says, Sasha, same with Doctor Sometimes. Same with Doctor Sometimes. I don't know what that means. Sorry. Fantasia, it was a weird storyline for Rue. Yeah, it felt like an afterthought. Okay, Netflix is going to pay for something drag related. What do we do about it? Well, let's put RuPaul in the lead character because she's RuPaul. We're going to bring the contestants along, and then we smash something together and call it a show. Diogo says, I think that if we add an all-winner season, it should be without elimination, just like Dragula Resurrection. I completely agree with that. I completely agree. And for me, All Stars should be like that as well. No elimination. Let me see my favorite queens all time for the whole show. That's the format they should really go for. Lady Baconator, RuPaul dragged down AJ and the Queen, in my opinion. Put a queen who can act in that role, and the show would have been more tolerable. Yeah, I mean, RuPaul did her best, which was not much from an acting point of view. I saw RuPaul's in other movies that came out in the 90s, I think, and she was always a bad actress. She was not necessarily a bad actress, but not good. She was not a good actress. The problem is that the script didn't really help her. She's not an impressive actress, and the script didn't help. Corelio, people have been suggesting scoring points so they won't be eliminated. Oh, you mean like scoring performances, and then by the end of the season you see who scored the most? I don't think something like that is going to be working. I think we are too late in the Drag Race game to start bringing out scoring points. It's too much of a change of format, and also would basically create more damage than the problem it would solve, because you are kind of creating an objective method to judge people. So I don't know. What World of Wonder likes is power to, in my opinion, of course, power to do whatever they want when they want and to move the plot along as much as they want. So I don't think that an objective way of scoring queens would make their job any easier. And they like easy job. I mean, it's easy money. Wouldn't you like that? I mean, if I would come to you and tell you, listen, I'm going to, I don't know, film you at work and give you $10,000 per day. You don't have to do anything special. What would you say? Fantasia, but Resurrection was kind of boring. How dare you? How dare you saying something like that? I loved regular Resurrection. I loved it. I loved everything about it. I don't know. You will never convince me of the contrary. I absolutely loved everything about it. And it's something remarkable, because I never love everything about something. At some point it was slow. I will give you that. They dedicated a lot of time to introduce the people behind the contestants. At times it felt a little bit slow. That I will give you. But that's the most critique that I can find. That's the most critique that I can find. For me, it was a great 2 hours. Really, really a great 2 hours. You also have to understand that I'm completely on board with the concept of Dracula. I love horror. I always loved horror. And the way some of the queens are able to bring it out is creepy as fuck. And it's totally good for me. Totally. Melanie, who did RuPaul dress up for Halloween? Does she dress up? I would say a fracking rig. You tell me what you think. Count Fracula. Frankenstein. Diogo says, Nikki Doll saying, I won Drag Race. By a lot. It's the shade that we all deserve. Where did I see that reference before? Oh my god, yes, it was a Trump thing. Sasha, about the Halloween special, what the season 12 queens did to deserve that? It was so bad. I gotta be honest with you, I watched the first 5 minutes of it. Mr. Invisible watched it. He said it was really bad, and I thought, you know what? I don't need that right now. I need to, shut off my brain, be entertained, and the last thing that I want to see is seeing the season 12 queens who really had it bad because they were in a season with fucking Sherry Pie, and then everything that happened, so they couldn't even bank on the experience, and then they have to do that. I mean, the most remarkable thing about the Halloween special for Drag Race, I think it was the first minute when you have Aiden Zane coming out and saying, boo! I mean, I don't know, because I haven't watched it in its entirety. I really, really watched like the first 5 minutes. But I think that's probably going to be the high of it. That's why it was in the beginning. Sasha, Nikki is an icon. I like Nikki Doll much more than I thought I would like Nikki Doll from seeing her in the show. She's really down to earth. Like, really down to earth. I mean, a lot of queens have as part of their brand to be down to earth. It's correct. But Nikki really is down to earth. Fantasia, the Halloween special was very different. The Halloween special for Drag Race, she means. It was like a thing just to get people to tip. Yeah. That's what I've read as well. Diogo, the Halloween special is a holy sleigh without RuPaul twerking and going splits. Delta Schlin, I was so embarrassed for Guido. Oh, well, I wouldn't know because I didn't really watch it. Sasha, different is a nice way to describe it. It's a very political one, isn't it? Fantasia, what happened to Guido? Yeah, I think somebody wrote it. We're going to get there. Amateur season. I watched 5 minutes of the Halloween special and then went to watch the season 6 Snatch game. Yeah, that says a lot. That says a lot. The season 12 queens deserved better. Come on. I mean, I repeat, I'm talking about something that I didn't really watch. So I based my opinion on the opinion of my partner and on the opinions that I read online. So, with that premise said, you've seen what the Boulet brothers managed to do. You know, they thought about it. They thought about what they were doing. It probably took months to film. It was something that was there. You know, it was planned. The Drag Race Halloween special, it felt like they came at the middle of October and thinking, oh my god, Dragula is making a special for Halloween. Let's make one as well and sell it as a way to celebrate the season 12 queens. That's how I felt it was. Like there wasn't really a plan for it. And I repeat, I'm judging my opinion based on other people's opinions. When I will have time to watch it, I will definitely watch it and tell you what I think about it. But if I have to base an opinion on that, this is how it feels like. Like, well, let's put something together and... Sasha said, the spider thing was cringy. Diogo, I watched 3 minutes of the Halloween special and it was like watching All Stars 1 in a loop. Damn. All Stars 1 is easily the worst season of Drag Race for me. Apart maybe for the Meet the Queens from, what was it, season 11? The one with Adam Rippon and Aquaria, where they didn't really know what they were doing, that it was live, they had all this weird thing. Oh my god, it was so bad. It was so bad. That's the definition of cringe. That's the definition of cringe. Delta Schlin said the Halloween special made her look silly, which ain't her vibe. Oh, I think she's talking about Guido. Yeah. Corelio, I wonder how much money they earned from this special. I hope it wasn't disappointing. Well, it's you know, it's how can I say? You don't really inquire on how much money people make, you know. You mean I do it a lot with World of Wonder, but that is a company, you know. That's not people. That is a company. I don't know. I have no idea. What concerns me is that they probably have to pay taxes over it, even though they are donations. So whatever they're getting, they're probably going to get 30 to 40% less. So I don't know. I think the queens went on it thinking, well, it's an opportunity to still remain relevant during a year in which we cannot really perform. I don't think any of them did it with any expectation of earning that much money. That's what I think. Yeah, I know it's sad to say it, but it's been a sad year. It's been a sad year. Fantasia said, the only thing I remember is Rock'em Sakura that did great makeup in the Snatch. Brent Steele says, hello? Diogo, I still don't know how to speech Christmas, so yup. You mean pronounce? Oh, don't worry. Have you heard my accent? Fantasia, maybe the idea of the movie with the show The Dark Side of Drag and how maybe a lot of the celebrity feel about it. Maybe they. What do you mean by that? The Dark Side of Drag, is that a project, something in the air, or something that's already herring, or Corelio, what I like in the Christmas special is Sonique's entrance and her reintroduction to the public. Yes, yes. I'm not saying that's one of the only reason why I tried to watch it, but that was definitely the only reason why I tried to watch it. Sonique was so iconic to me. I don't know why she sticked so much. Maybe because she was the first one to come out with her personal story and her troubles and so on. And she is a beautiful woman. She is really a beautiful woman. I'm sorry if I sound like a pervert, but she is beautiful. Cannot help it. Bolivia says, oh, sorry, I meant Drag Race. Better sometimes without those creepy winks on crystals and thing. Poor Crystal. I read somewhere that Crystal was courting RuPaul to be on All Stars. Was it an article? I have no idea. But I read it like last month. I thought the things that you have to do to work. Lady Baconator, I think that All-Star season should just have a point system with no elimination, including mini challenges, main challenges, and lip syncs wins. The queens with the most points get the crown. As I said before, I'm not so convinced about this point things, but I completely agree about not sending them home. It's such a waste. Such a waste. You have queens that will basically guarantee you that people will tune in to watch. And what do? You send them home one by one. I don't know. Diogo, sometimes I feel so bad for some queens that serve every single runway and get the chop very quickly, like Honey Davenport or Angina. Well, it sounds like a little bit shady, but a ton of queens are, cast in the show to be sent home early. Their job is to basically justify not eliminating somebody that we are still getting to know. It sounds like shit, but it's part of the business. It's part of the business. You see them every season. What I liked about season 12 is that they had this split premiere. So at least we had a little bit more time to get to know even the early outs. A little bit of time. But, it's also part of the format. If it's a competition, somebody has to go home. And you don't really want to send home somebody in a way that it feels like they didn't really deserve it. The first who goes home has to look from the audience perspective as if she really deserved to go home. And sometimes they made a mistake of making them go home when they didn't really deserve it. At least that's the impression we were left with. And that's a sin in reality television producing. That's a sin. The person who goes home has to look like they deserve to go home. And sometimes that implies that you have to go to extreme measures. I mean, remember the Max singing on stage? Not singing on stage, breaking character and started singing and Rue looking all concerned and so on. I found the tweet, but talking about that, I found the tweet. I pinned it in the video, so future viewers will see that as well. The official account of RuPaul's Drag Race went on Twitter after Max's interview came out, where she spilled the tea and so on, and people started talking. And they confirmed that RuPaul asked Max to sing. They confirmed it. So, it's not It's not Max being shady. It's not people crying loud because they loved Max no matter what and blah, 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 or she's cringe and so on. She did ask Max to sing, and it was confirmed by the show. So that puts the final nail on the coffin, on that matter at least. Fantasia says, Dracula Resurrection was good, but I fell asleep a couple times. Had to rewatch it like twice. I enjoyed Kendra, Frankie, and I thought Victoria could have done better, but she didn't want to win. You fell asleep while watching? I'm not talking to you anymore. You can comment. I'm not reading them anymore. Let's move on. Chi said, the horrible lighting. Of what? Or of Dracula? I don't know. I need to move faster with these comments. I always lose the point. Diogo says, Season 11, Meet the Queens. Oh my god. Plastique was so salty, and I agreed with her. My god, that Meet the Queens was... Come on. I mean, it was iconic. It was iconic. I made a super cut on it. I think I played it in a live stream. It was, but you know, it was iconic for all the wrong reason. Diogo says, continues, some episodes of All Stars 5 are on All Stars 1 level. I completely agree. I didn't like All Stars 5. I mean, I thought All Stars 4 was bad, but All Stars 5 managed to reach a new low. It really managed to reach a new low. I don't understand why they don't spend a little. I mean, it's your brand. It's paying you a lot of money. Why are they being so cheap with it? Why don't they hire people who really know what the heart of this show is, and they have the competence to bring this heart out to be sold to the public? I don't get it. I really don't get it. I don't know if they are tired, but this is a company, for God's sake. This is not a single person that say, oh, you know, she is tired and she is tired. She cannot be at the same level as before. This is a company, you know. You pay people. Pay people. Did you hear that, Todrick? Sasha, Diogo... that's true. Oh, that All Stars 5 was bad. Yeah. I mean, there was so much Cracker, my god. It was such an awful combination, because you have Miss Cracker, which is kind of, to me, we talked about it at length, it's kind of disingenuous as a person. At least that's how it looks. I don't know her, but that's the image that she projects over and over and over and over, and that's what I see. Plus the combination of the fact that she has a huge following, plus the combination of the fact that World of Wonder, they're still a huge suckers for queens who have huge followings. So it was a terrible combination. I'm not saying that Cracker made All Stars 5 worse for me. But it definitely didn't help. It definitely didn't help. The challenges were kind of uninspiring. The elimination thing that they did, it was like, I don't know. It was like an afterthought, you know? It was an afterthought saying, well, we need to change things because otherwise the queens will basically fuck us over by always choosing to eliminate the same queens. So we lose the power to do what we want and have them take the blame for it. And it was kind of an afterthought. I mean, in a way, I can also understand it because there was so much Drag Race this year, which means that when they were filming all of this, they were constantly back to back with, okay, we have season 12, okay, we have Drag Race UK, okay, we have All Stars 5, and then you have to record all the Rue segments for the various spin-off of Drag Race. So I understand that there was a lot of work. Well, hire more people. You are getting paid. It's a franchise. You are getting paid. Now we have Drag Race Holland going on. World of Wonder gets a check from them because it's part of the franchise. Hire more people. It boggles my mind. Diogo, when Sonique appeared, I almost fell faster than Laganja's death drop. Yeah, Sonique is beautiful. She is beautiful. She's so lively. It's incredible, you know. And so down to earth. I remember some Twitter feud which for some reason came to my attention. I think it came from Reddit. With, you know, Carmen being very in your face, very politically incorrect, if you will. And I'm not here to discuss if she was in the right or in the wrong. But also Sonique, when she put her 2 cents there, she was very much a lady. And that is something that I can really appreciate. You know, you can get your point across without the need to shout at other people. You know? I really like Sonique. I hope that the show will finally move past this stupid ideals that drag is just for gay men, and we will get to see Sonique. I think she will really, really resonate with the public. It would be a very smart choice. Isaiah says hello. Hello, welcome. Sasha, Crystal had a haircut recently, and I'm pretty sure RuPaul cried a bit about it. Diogo, wait, Crystal is not with the mullet anymore? Isaiah, I also like how we got to see everyone's finale look. Am I too late for those comments? Yes, I am. Oh, Sasha says, Diogo, no, her mullet is just way shorter. Well, she needs to get on All Stars, so she better keep the mullet. What do you think? Diogo says, I enjoyed Kendra so much. She was really the heart of the season. Fantasia, season 11, Meet the Queens. They have deleted it from the internet, so how can we see it again? I need a link. And the link you shall have. Give me a moment, I'll find it. Didn't I add a link? One moment, let me go through the tons of things that I have in there. When did I do it? For the first ever chop, the live stream. If I still have it. Oh, I have the materials. Please tell me I have links in here. Otherwise, I have to go through the internet again to find it. Nope. It's going to take... I will write a note. And... where's a pen? Pen. Oh, damn. Can't find anything. Oh, here it is. So, we are going to dive in J. Jolie's movie. And the season 11 Meet the Queens. Maybe we can have a section in the Discord with useful links or something like that. I will post the links there. Watch it at your discretion. And I don't know if there is a way in Discord to share materials that is for adults only, because I'm concerned about the fact that maybe there are minors on the you know, I will send you a private link for the J. Jolie thing, you know, it just, you know, as a precaution. Diogo says All Stars 2 level or better? But we receive All Stars 1 Part 2 Feast Shake You Lay. All Stars 1 Part 2 Feast Shake You Lay. Oh, you're talking about All Stars 5. Yeah, somehow I kind of removed that. It was like a bad dream, you know? It was like a bad dream. Sasha says, All Stars 5 is the worst season of All Stars for me. Well, that depends. That depends. I really didn't like All Stars 5. I think it did no one any favor. It made Pandora look like a bitch. It made Mimi look delusional. It made Manila look unflattering. I mean, by that point, Manila and her interactions on social media basically destroyed her image already, so it's not like there was much to destroy. They look Latrice look not like Latrice at all in All Stars 1. Somehow we had Chanel in there. I think the only person who really got something out of All Stars 1 was Raven. Because I don't know if you were there during the times, but everybody hated Raven. When season 2 came along, people hated Raven. And they continued to hate Raven through season 3 and through season 4. It was after All Stars 1 came out and she had that nice storyline with one of the most beloved queens in the history of the show, which is Jujubee, that she redeemed her image. Or better, the show redeemed her image. So she's really the only one who benefited from All Stars 1. But it was also the first All Stars that came out. So it's kind of, it's kind of a first impression for me. I don't know. I still think it was way worse. Way worse. Fantasia, did you see this Broadway Cares Halloween special? No, I don't know what that is. Fantasia said it was so good, the production was really good and it had some moment, but I loved it. So many appearances from people I didn't know, but the writing was good. No, I didn't see that. Diogo said, J.J. Lee movie Fit RuPaul is so iconic. My god. My god. Sasha, All Stars 1 was bad because they didn't know what they were doing, but it was funny, and All Stars 5 was just bad. Well, now that I think about it, I think I kind of agree on that. I mean, you remember Tammy Brown? My god, Tammy was such an icon. When she said that thing, come on Teletubbies, teleport me to Mars. And Manila was like, what the fuck is going on? I was not a fan of Manila Luzon. Not at all. Not at all. I mean, on the show, I kind of liked what she was doing. She was unique. I think she's still unique. She is right at the intersection of comedy and camp. The problem is that, of fashion and camp. The problem is that the fashion didn't really evolve and the camp got cringy by the time. And she was acting like a complete bitch on social media for the longest time. I mean, if you rewatch All Stars 4, you will see at the very beginning that you see Manila saying, you don't want to play this game while being a bad girl because that doesn't really pay off, and I am living proof of that. This is what she is referencing. She's referencing everything, all the snarky comments, all the drama, provoked drama, if you ask me, that went on behind the scenes. It was just so bad. I mean, on season 3, I didn't dislike Manila. I wasn't rooting for her, but I didn't dislike her. It was okay. Seeing what was going on outside of the show made me really dislike. She gave this vibe of a nasty person. you know. She was smart enough to redeem her image during All Stars 4, but you know, for us older ladies, if you will, I mean, we don't really fall for it. That's kind of it. Sasha, wait, what is the story with Manila in All Stars 1? And I didn't know about that. Yeah, I mean, there was so much going on. I mean, I remember a Facebook post when she was making fun of Mimi I'm First because she scored better than Mimi on the show. I mean, come on, who does things like that? Everybody knows that the show is not about it. You don't get bragging points for going farther in a reality TV competition, you know, and it's all things like this. I remember she had a live show and she started spitting a banana on people. And when people started complaining, she responded like, "It's my show. I don't remember the exact word, but she went with things like, "It's my show. I do what I want. If you don't like it, you don't come," which I can accept until a certain point. But just remember, you are spitting on people. It's, you know, it's not like you're saying a joke that somebody might find kind of offensive. You are spitting on people. It's a physical thing, you know. I found it really, I don't know, really childish, really childish. And there was this whole thing when American Apparel did a campaign, and that's how we got to have the Hey girls, you know. That's because they were chosen for American Apparel. I'm saying this for the non-Americans that maybe they don't know that the AAA means American Apparel ad girls. And Manila came out of nothing on social media saying, "Oh, this is so racist that we have no representation and blah 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 and blah blah blah." And it felt more like, oh, there could be a potential issue in there. Let me intersect the conversation so that I can stay relevant. Because that's what I've been seeing Manila doing since basically internet became a thing and people started talking on Drag Race on social media. That's what I've been seeing. She did comments on Pearl when there was a time when Pearl nudes leaked, and she I think, I don't remember, please bear with me, I don't remember, but she did something like she commented on how the nudes looked. I have to check this out. Don't take me with words. I might be confused, but she intersected the conversation. That I remember, and not in a good way. Now, or maybe it was Raja. Maybe I'm confusing her with Raja. You know, somebody basically came out complaining to Pearl that, you know, it's her problem if she lost her passport, but she has a hot bush. I don't know. I don't think it's even the time of the day to continue talking about these things. My God. So, where are we? I don't know if the chat froze, because that's something that happens, or we are basically done with the comments. Let me check. No, we're done with the comments. Okay. So, guys, I will put not a link. What did I want to say? No, I will put... oh my God, what's the word? It's really 2 in the morning, isn't it? A voting for the next stream. I think I'll probably do it next week, because we're kind of late with this stream. This should have happened like last week, and it happened this week. So I'll put a link. Not a link. I did it again. Oh my God. I'll put a poll in the community section again for the next stream, and you can choose whatever you would like to talk about it in there. I'm not really working that much on videos, not in this period. I hope to start working again soon, but as you know, here in Europe, we are basically going in lockdown again, which means everything that comes with it, including more work for some and less work from others, whatever it is. But I will put a poll in the community section. I hope to have videos out at some point because I'm letting this channel go, and that's my fault. I am the editor. I'm going to take full responsibility for that. And I will look for these links and put them in there. Now, if you come to the Discord, please be careful if you share links where you can watch things, because the terms of Discord are against piracy. And if you start sharing links that bring to copyrighted materials, it's possible that they would shut us down. So let's not kind of, there's a suggestion, okay, there's a suggestion. Let's not kind of make a thing like, okay, you want to watch this, oh, you click here, you click there, there is Twitter, there are private messages, all that thing is fine. So let's skip the link part for the gagging things, you know. So we'll see about that. Anyway, it was nice being back here. I'm sorry that I wasn't very, very excited to do this review, but I wasn't very excited to do this review. I know that people wanted to talk about it, and so I did it. I felt competent enough to talk about it, but for some reason, I would have preferred talking about how Nina West went south. But that was the least voted topic, for obvious reasons, of course. Anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for coming, and have a great night or have a great day, depending on which part of the world you are. So see you soon and stay safe.